Reaction is pouring in after Facebook's oversight board upheld the ban on former President Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts. The Wall Street Journal is doing a deep dive now into what it's calling the Facebook jail and its secret rules that put users in the doghouse. For a user typically has to rack up multiple strikes against them before facing a ban, but Facebook doesn't tell users how many it takes, saying in a 2018 blog post that we don't want people to game the system. Facebook doesn't release the number of accounts it restricts. Joining me now, Congressman Ken Buck, Republican from Colorado. First of all, good to see you, Congressman. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you.
So what do you think about the rules, just big picture, moving forward beyond their decision today with the former president? We don't even know what the game is so that they can, quote unquote, keep people from gaming the system. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair. What we're dealing with is a private corporation, so the rules are a little bit different than if this was the government. But we have an American value in this country. Our founders fought a revolution to establish that right to free speech. They made it they put it in the Bill of Rights. They made it the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights. And we have to understand that we can't allow a corporation to do something that we don't allow the United States government to do. And it's contrary to our American values. And so I think what Facebook is doing is wrong. The answer are our monopoly laws, our antitrust laws. We have to make sure that we have 5 Facebooks so that people like President Trump and Ken Buck and Harris Faulkner and everyone else has an opportunity to be heard.
You know, I do want to get now your response to their decision. And by the way, we've been talking this hour. They didn't have to take this board's suggestions. They didn't have to do it. But it gives Facebook what? And your response to what their decision was today?
Well, it may give them some cover, but you're absolutely right. It isn't legally binding. This is a group that they set up. It's clearly a group of left-wing activists that are on their board. And in my view, what we have right now is a situation where President Assad in Syria has a Facebook page. He has 250,000 followers. He continuously lies about human rights abuses in his country. There is terrible violence in his country. And they take the president of the United States off of Facebook and do nothing to the president of Syria. They apply these rules so unfairly and inconsistently that the American public just doesn't have confidence in this.
I want to make our audience aware that you put out a statement today, and in that, if anybody's wondering just how deep you go in it, you give the example. The page's administrator for Bashar al-Assad is located in Syria and has been active since 2011, so it's not like they can't find it.
Exactly. And you know, we're dealing, again, the Democrats talked about Russian collusion for years. It was an absolutely false narrative. The Antifa supporters are talking about issues and advocating violence on Facebook. To suggest that what President Trump has done comes anywhere close to what these other individuals have done is just false.
Congressman Buck, the CIA is defending its new recruitment video, and critics are tearing into the video saying it pushes woke propaganda and identity politics. Tucker Carlson on our air last night mocking one part of the ad where a woman says she's not about box checking.
Box checking? Come on. Just a cisgender Latina millennial mom of color with a certified emotional disability. Not a hint of box checking there. In fact, that sounds like pure meritocracy, if by meritocracy you mean a system in which narcissism is the highest achievement.
The CIA told Fox News 2020 was a standout recruitment year for the CIA despite the pandemic. Our 2021 incoming class is the 3rd largest in a decade. What is at issue for you, Congressman, with the way the CIA is recruiting?
Well, I think the problem really is that this cancel culture has seeped into so many of our institutions in this country. West Point has changed its curriculum, and obviously the CIA, they may have a banner recruiting year in terms of quantity. I question what the quality of the individuals who are attracted to this kind of recruiting technique are all about. The CIA has always been in so many ways above question in our country for their patriotism and for their willingness to risk their lives to gather intelligence that keeps us safe. I question whether they are actually continuing the high standards that they've had before.
Interesting. And just a quick follow, because I want to get to Rachel Campos-Duffy in a moment and her take on it. But I'm curious to know, on the Hill, you know, this is a bigger issue because you could play a role, I would imagine, in informing the CIA of what you just said. Is there a thirst to do that? Is there an eagerness to let the CIA know that there's concern?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think oversight is critical, and I think that is the role of Congress, and we have an obligation to give feedback. Now, if they are justifying it and saying that they've gotten, you know, based on objective measurements, that they've gotten better candidates applying, that's great. But if all they're doing is attracting people who won't get the job done down the road, that absolutely is Congress's role to weigh in and make sure that taxpayer dollars are being used efficiently.
Real quickly, I do want to show Rachel Campos-Duffy from Faulkner Focus yesterday on this, because her bigger idea was that our enemies may have a point of view on this. Let's take a quick peek.
I don't want her to work out her problems at the CIA. I want her to work out America's problems with China and all the other problems we have in national security. The CIA is about service, and very quiet service. Very few people know what they do. And this is a very dangerous time to have people in the CIA who aren't, you know, absolutely devoted to America. If you listen to that video, she never identifies herself as an American. She never talks about America.
Just a quick response to that, and we'll move forward.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I am very concerned that we are changing our standards, and the standards with the CIA have been developed over decades, and they're really proven effective, and so this change, I think, is very dangerous.
Congressman Ken Buck, we started today with Facebook's decision, and I had told the audience that you led the charge to make sure that conservative voices are heard and read on different platforms. Your call for many Facebooks to compete against each other is a loud one. Thank you for coming on the program today.
Thank you, Harris. It's good to be with you.